And it's chilly in here tonight. Not quite midnight yet. I had my wife and son help me flip that wing over when they came back from walking the dogs before we had dinner. I just come up here and worked on this wing a little bit more. I was able to strip the finishing tape off that false spar and get down to where those aluminum strips were, and they were all screwed on with number 4 sheet metal screws. So I got those out, got those metal strips off. Now I can finish taking that fabric off. A little bit of glue in one of those screws, but I got it off of there. So that fabric is all off of there, came off in all in one piece except for a couple of little pieces. Now I've got enough of these rings to go here on the inspection covers, or there's holes for the inspection covers, that I don't need to worry about it, but I didn't cut up any of these this time. I could probably come awful close to salvaging all of these. Got these covers here that go over these Delbert covers that go over the wing strut attachment. Again, what I recommend you doing is saving that to use for a pattern for finding the inspection covers and stuff like that. I think we can figure that out. Get out of the way. Well, I'm pretty pleased with the way this thing looks for the most part. I can see a couple little spots of corrosion on there. This main front spar is all primered. It looks beautiful. The rear spar is not primered, and down in places I could see on the top side of it. Not so much on the bottom side of it. Get down here for this inboard edge, yeah, I can see some rust on this fuel tank strap, so I'm going to take those out, which means I'm going to take this flap false bar off. Got a little bit of rust on this push rod for this flap actuator. I don't know how much of this is corrosion and how much of it is just dried glue on this aluminum, but they've got the same thing on here that they did on all of them, is they put masking tape over all these screw heads. I do have some work to do on cleaning up this wing here. I have to go over it with some MEK, clean all the glue and stuff off of it. Look in the paint, like here on these aileron hinges and the flap hinges. Clean the paint off of those and inspect those real close. I wished all this stuff was primered, but I'll probably clean up this main spar, this rear spar, and probably paint it. Maybe I'll paint primer over all of this stuff on the outside edge. I'm not going to take all of these false spars off like I did on the other wing. They don't really need it unless I see something as I go over it and inspect it closer. I'm going to have to take this leading edge skin loose here and take this outboard leading edge skin off so I can get that wingtip bow out of there. That wingtip bow actually looks good until you get down here to this outboard end on it, and it's got, looks like it's some water damage here on this trailing edge, but I've got fungus coming out of it or something. Maybe that's not fungus. I don't see any rot in it. And right from here, from the spar back, it's dark where it's been wet. It stayed wet and it looked like it had fungus growing out of it on it, some kind. I don't know whether it was fungus or something else, but makes me suspicious of it. And I've got the white oak staves already made up to put on there, so it wouldn't be any trouble. I just have to set up my bending jig and bend those again. It has been varnished, but they didn't do a very good job at it. Alright, so I might have to take this leading edge skin off over here to get these fuel tank straps off there, because this fuel tank strap here where it goes over the rear spar is showing rust on it, and that's a spot that can become a sore spot in a hurry in the aluminum where the steel is rusting on the aluminum, and that is where I started the start of problem on that other wing. I caught it before it became a problem, but barely. Alright, well that's good. Well, I can see I'm going to be pretty busy with the MEK scrubbing this and getting all that old glue off of there and getting things cleaned up so I can see where any damage might be, any corrosion or anything like that might be. I'm looking at the hinges for the flap and the ailerons, and so far they all look good except this outboard aileron hinge has a little bit of rust on it, so I'm probably going to have to take that false spar off of there and get that hinge out of there and sandblast it, clean it up and check it out and do a good inspection on that. That and the straps for the fuel tank, I can see that they need to be some work done on them. This wingtip bow, I got a question about it. Once this dries out in here it might be just fine, but it looked like fungus growing out of it on one side, but I don't notice any softening in it or anything like that. It does kind of have a little kink in it right here where it comes around this corner, but that's not cracked or broken there. So otherwise everything looks good, just a lot of scrubbing with some MEK and cursing about the damn masking tape all over everything. And it's cold outside, so working with MEK with the door open and stuff and the fans going, it's going to be kind of chilly in here, but that's the way it is. Actually supposed to warm up this coming week and get into the 40s and rain again. It looked like it was just starting to spit a little bit of snow out there as I was walking up here to come to work on this. So the ground is all white with frost, and the snow in the dark won't hardly show up. It's hard to tell between the frost and the snow out there right now. But I think I'm going to call it a day. It's 1:15 midnight. Now I'll go to bed early tonight. Alright, that's enough.